What's going on, Wiz Nation? Coming back at you guys with another episode of State of the Wiz. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 9. Me, Decan, along with my co-host.
Hey Jose, what's going on? AKA DC Hoopla. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I see we on opposite sides of the seat tonight. Hey, it's all good. I was having some technical difficulties on my end. Thanks to you, we getting this thing started. But hey, look, episode 9, we in our second preseason game. There's some great news about Rui returning. And there's some things that we like to cover in today's episode, for the Wizards fans out there and for our followers and the people who subscribe to our channel, the people who can't wait to see what Decan and K Jose got to say.
Absolutely. So before we even get started, definitely want to say follow me, DC Hoopla, on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe on my YouTube page. Follow me on Twitter, IG, as well as maybe pretty soon I'll do Spotify.
Hey, Spotify, my man, about to open up the gates.
Yeah, it's time to go ahead and graduate to the next level.
Hey, that's what's up, though, man. Like, Wiz Takes is definitely doing a good job on Spotify. For those people out there who have not followed Wiz Takes, please follow Wiz Takes at Wizards Mafia on Twitter.
He's the real Wiz Takes.
Absolutely. Don't follow that other Wiz Takes guy. I don't even know who he is. But yeah, please follow me there. Also, if you are new to the channel, please share, like, subscribe, and drop us some comments. We love to definitely, conversate with you guys. If you guys got anything that you would like to bring up, any new topics for us, please bring it up. Put it in the comment section. We'll be more than happy to, engage, acknowledge those possible comments, and and move from there. But
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about, well, you're a Raiders fan, right? So what's going on? Looks like your boy Gruden. We'll get back to the Wiz in a second. It looks like your boy Gruden just got the axe, or did he, voluntarily step down? What happened?
Well, by looking at some of the reports, the owner, Mark Davis, went looking for him today, and they had a conversation. So if anything, I think he was forced out. And basically what's going on is emails that occurred 10 years ago that he emailed to Bruce Allen, Sean McVay's uncle, and the owner of Hooters. And what he basically was doing was talking bad about Roger Goodell. He called him, a fag. He talked about Damari Smith, said he had big lips. He also said that Jeff Fisher should not have been pressured into drafting Michael Sam, called him Michael Sam a queer. And he talked bad about President Obama during his second reelection and Joe Biden. So he's been very vocal. And these were through emails that he had with other people that's part of the NFL. And it surfaced. And yesterday, it was speculation to the reason why the Raiders lost yesterday was that maybe the players had quit on him because of these comments. And people may sit there and say, well, I didn't really see anything wrong. Well, currently right now, there is an active gay player on the Raiders who currently plays for the Raiders.
Right.
Okay, he came out during the offseason. Carl Nassib, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He came out actively that he's gay. So you got to understand, you're coaching a guy that you have a problem with the lifestyle. And now these emails are surfacing 10 years later. Now, people probably might ask, well, why is it surfacing now? Maybe he might have pissed somebody off who decided, hey, you know what, let's go ahead and out this guy. So with the owner, it's not a good look. So he had to clean that up.
Right.
And he has to protect his brand. So I can't be mad at Mark Davis for doing what he did.
What opened this up? What do you think? Like, how do you think someone even got to those emails? It's pretty crazy how, all this eventually, came out, what you hide in the dark eventually comes to light. What do you think brought this up? I know there's an investigation going on with the Washington football team right now.
Yeah, there's an investigation going on with that. I don't know
I
who brought the
mean,
emails. I mean, to
I
be
mean,
honest with you, I'm not too sure, but I look at it as he must have burned a bridge with somebody for them to out him out. So that could be anybody who decided to air out his dirty laundry.
mhm.
Um, he said he's not a racist, but people probably going to think otherwise. Some people look at it like, they didn't see nothing wrong with it, like Jason Whitlock didn't see anything wrong with what he said.
Of
You
course.
But at the end of the day, man, the fact is you're actually coaching a player that you have a problem with their lifestyle. So people have feelings. Whether you feel that it's okay to say what you say, people still got feelings. That's how I look at it.
Well, are you seeing something up on your end? As far as I'm getting like some stuff going on my end. You're not seeing
Mm-mm.
it on your end, are you? Okay. So I guess my thing is we won't spend too much time on this subject, but how I look at it is it's pretty wild because this is probably the the second time in this past 5-6 years you got Alton Sterling of the Clippers that got outed for voicemails, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing about some of these managers, coaches, owners. They think they can say whatever they want, and they think they can get away with it, being in the positions that they're in. And my thing is you're doing this on email,
Mm-hmm.
company email, all right? And you know for a fact that all of this stuff is you can pull this stuff up. There's a record of this. So
Well, just to real quick, just to correct you, this was actually from his personal email.
this was from his personal email.
That's why I said whoever outed this was personal, whoever outed him out. Because
So
this
this
came
was
from his personal email.
well, look, there's a good possibility that the people that outed him out was the people he was talking to. You know,
Hey,
like I said, how was this brought up? We don't know, but the Washington football team was just investigated. An email was sent to Bruce Allen. There's a good possibility that 1+1 = 2 in this situation.
yeah.
But look, bottom line is, man, look, I mean, my thing is you're an NFL head football coach. You know damn well you can't be saying things like that. And I lost respect for John Gruden because I thought better of the man, to be honest with you. I didn't think that he was like that, to be honest with you. I didn't know, he was anti, you know, seemed like he has a more problem with the liberal agenda because you say he took a shot at Obama, Biden, the gay community, right?
Hmm.
So it seems like he's more, conservative in his viewpoints, and he's anti-liberal, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this and then we can go ahead and talk about the preseason game. The thing is that, you know, again, it could have been anybody that outed him out. Like I said, this was a personal email that Bruce Allen was included on, John Gruden, Jay Gruden, Sean McVay's uncle or dad or something like that. So it could have been Sean McVay himself that did it. But we're in a time now where where racism is definitely being focused on, where people are actually trying to put an end to it. And even when it comes down to equality, when you talk about the LBGT community, you got people that are actually fighting to protect them as well. So with the
Mm,
NFL being America's pastime and it's the biggest thing in the United States, that's a huge brand, a multi-billion-dollar brand. They don't want this black eye on them, so they went ahead and correct that. And what could possibly be next is maybe there might be some punishment coming down to the Washington football team because they got something going on with their personal trainer or their trainer. I don't know. I don't know if he was slanging
right,
PEDs or something else, but he's been
right,
suspended. It's like all the funny shit that's going on with some of these organizations is getting
yeah,
ready to come to an end. Let's just put it that way.
right, yeah. And look,
Which leads us to the next topic.
right. So me and you, we can dive full fledged into that, off state of the whiz.
Hmm.
But this is state of the whiz, so unfortunately we can't. We're not gonna make this all about everything else. We're
Right.
gonna be dedicated specifically to what this show is about, which brings us to the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about, Rui. Well, before we get into Rui, sorry, let's talk about, is it too early to push the panic button after 2 preseason games? Wizards went on to play the Knicks the other night, and they lost that game. And in my opinion, they didn't lose it looking good. They lost it looking pretty bad.
Right.
Now, granted, the Knicks was hitting some tough shots. Do you think even after 2 preseason games that it's time to push the panic button?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we are who we are. It's going to be all about accountability this season when it comes down to this team. A lot of people had high expectations for some of these players that we got in the trade, and I'm holding them accountable to get it together. Now, what we talked about in the last episode was that there are going to be some players that's going to buy into Wes Unsel's his system, and there's going to be some that's not going to buy into his system. And what stood out playing against the Knicks was that we shot poor. We actually shot poor even in the first preseason. We shot poor from the three-point line. The first 2 preseason games, we have not been shooting very well from downtown. Beal, if I'm correct, I think he was like 1 for 4 or 1 for 5, which has been his issue last season. But I'm not going to say it's time to push the panic button because what we're seeing is kind of like what I've been expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And the first game of the season, I believe we play against the Brooklyn Nets. I think it's going to just translate into the regular season where we're going to have rough, slow starts. We may look good, and then we'll have those moments where we'll just take the foot off the gas, and then we're going to really find out how deep this team is. And Houston showed us that they got a lot of depth on their team. And the Knicks, I don't know why in the world people are mad that we lost to the Knicks. The Knicks did go to the playoffs last season. They're a little bit better than what we're giving them credit for. And they have a pretty deep bench as well. So for me, I'm going to say, no, it's not time to push the panic button because this is what I was expecting.
Well, let's go ahead and pull up some highlights of the preseason game.
Okay.
And let's kind of go over some of the things that happened during that game. My take on it is look, yeah, it's not, it's too early to push the panic button. But there is a slight cause for concern.
Right.
How I look at it is, there should be some players on this team who are professional enough to still know how they play the game of basketball.
Right.
Right now, in 2 short games, it's looking like some of these guys just don't know how to play basketball. Are you still seeing me here? Because I don't see myself.
Yeah, I can still see you. I can see the both of us. Can you see the highlights?
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see it. All right.
All right. So let's take a look here. So I see to start the game, Dinwiddie was very active. Now, granted, I did miss the first quarter of this game, so I'm actually seeing these highlights for the first time.
Right.
Now, what I did see in the later part of the game, when I said it seems like some of these guys just forgot how to play basketball. I mean, they're professionals. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play the game of basketball.
Right.
At least look like you know what position to be in. At least look like you know how to play the game at the right way. Wes Unseld Jr. is not demanding a lot out of these guys.
Right.
You and I talk about this all the time. This team really should hold itself to another standard, to another level. And what I'm seeing right now through the first 2 preseason games, while they're getting acclimated to each other, I am seeing that there are still some guys. Bertans is one of them. Howard Nettle's another who was on this team last year. Hey, let's stick to the fact that you can hit a 3-point shot. Let's stick to the fact that you can still play defense.
Right. I mean,
There was parts later in this game I just didn't see any of that. I didn't see that these guys were doing the things that we were accustomed to seeing them do.
well, it almost makes you wonder. I just paused the highlights, but it almost makes you wonder if there are some guys on this team that could be disgruntled. Are there some players on this team that are disgruntled? Now, some of the guys, when you say they look like they didn't know, they forgot how to play basketball. Well, even though that this trade brought in a lot of players, that could be the issue because now people are actually competing for playing time.
Mm-hmm.
Guys who are
I like
actually guaranteed that was a good play by Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
I like that, and he actually had 18 and 10, which is something that this team definitely needs.
So you see, they was doubling Montrezl there.
Yeah, because he was pretty much the only one that was looking good.
So I'm getting lag on my end now. For the folks out there, for the viewer, we do apologize. We're well aware of the lag that we have in our videos. So please stick with us. We're working through each video to make sure that it's not as bad. But right now we are getting the lag again.
Yeah, one of the concerns I will say that I have with this team, and it's been a concern for like the last several years, is our 3-point defense, lack thereof. Yeah. We're still late when it comes down to rotating. I know that was a nice block by Daniel Gafford, by the way. But I know that they said that there was not going to be a lot of switching. But we don't do a very good job of man-to-man defense. Another nice block by Daniel Gafford.
Because you know what? We have to be dedicated to that.
And that's the problem right there, my dude. Even though Wes Unseld is telling these guys they need to be playing defense, there's a lot of guys on the team that's just not going to play defense. Right. They just don't want to do it because, again, if you got some players who are on one-year deals, and I think I said this before, there's going to be guys on it that's going to be trying to advertise themselves to get a bigger contract. So how do you tell a guy who basically his contract is over after the season ends that, hey, you need to play team basketball?
Right. I mean, look, bottom line is they're not dedicated to playing defense. You need players that are going to be dedicated to playing one-on-one, straight up man-to-man basketball. Switching and all of that's bailing out the defender. Right. And there's a lot of NBA teams that play that style. It's not just the Wizards who are adjusting or making this adjustment. You have a lot of NBA teams that are, playing the same style of defense. In my opinion, I think that Wes Unseld Jr. is probably asking a lot more out of the guys that what they're capable of doing or what they're used to doing. But that's by design. That's on purpose.
Right.
Because you do want Bradleyville to be a better defender. So what other way to make Bradleyville a better defender than to tell him, okay, Bradley, no more switching. D your man, straight up, make sure that you stay in front of your man, slide your feet, get down and dirty with some of the best offensive players in the league. What better way to make him a better defender than to tell him that he can no longer do those things? Now, I think it's a perfect strategy. Yeah, no, I think it's a perfect strategy.
Now, just real quick, I just want to go back to this three that Evan Fournier had hit. So this particular play right here, Denny goes out there to try to guard him, but there was no help.
Right.
He got on that. And that's pretty much what this team has been struggling with is that they're not talking to each other.
Go back one more time. Go back one more time.
Okay.
Because there is something else too. Go back a little bit more, yeah. So there's something else too to this.
Nice play by Harrell right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's gonna be energetic all season. I just hope he avoids the injury bug, Here
comes that play right here.
All right, so here we go. Denny, you're right. Where's Kuzma? Kuzma should have been helping right there. He was way off his man. And the thing was that what I was going to point out, in order for this team to be better defensively, Denny Avdia can't go for those fakes. He's got to stay down. He's got to stay disciplined.
Look at this.
This is what Wes Unseld Jr. is trying to teach these guys. That was late. That was just piss poor rotation.
So let's just watch again. So look at this play. Beal tries to get the charge. That didn't happen.
Right.
Passing, you
48
got three
drive.
defenders sucked in.
Yep.
Nobody was there to guard RJ Barrett.
Right. And look, truth is they're scattering everywhere. They don't know, they're out of position. They don't know where to go defensively. They don't really know their assignments. But again, that's what Wes was stressing throughout preseason and training camp thus far, was that, hey, you guys need to know what your defensive assignments are. Go back to that play just now.
I was getting ready to do that. Just getting ready to do that. So
can you pause it real quick. Pause it. All right. Look at where Kyle Kuzma is.
Right.
My thing is Kyle Kuzma shouldn't even be playing that far off of his man.
Right.
It's, again, not knowing your assignment. So go ahead and play it. Go ahead and play it. Boom. Bradleyville gets beat baseline. That's what's
now. Let me go back real quick. Just a little small part.
Beal gets beat baseline. He kicks it out to Fournier.
Let me pause it right there. My dude, who should be right there where Toppin is?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Where is Spencer Dinwiddie at?
He's still on Kemba Walker.
Now, watch when I play this. Now, answer this question. Does anybody go out there and challenge Toppin on this three-point attempt?
No. In fact, who made that pass to Fournier?
It was let me see. Because this goes back to not knowing your assignments. So it's RJ Barrett. He drives.
Barrett. Okay. Pause it. That was so hold on. Go back just a tad. All right. Look. So after Beal got beat baseline, he kicked it out to Fournier. Fournier swung it to Toppin on the three. Bradleyville got beat. So defensively, you're supposed to rotate.
Right.
Beal was in a land of nowhere.
Right.
So if you play it, you'll see exactly what I mean by Beal being in the land of nowhere. Watch. Barrett, whoop. Beal.
You know what's funny? Beal points at Dinwiddie to tell him to go out there and check Toppin, and Dinwiddie don't even bother.
No, but Bill's right though, because Dinwiddie should have been there.
Oh my gosh! Look at that terrible defensive play right there.
Beal absolutely is right when it comes down to that. Dinwiddie should have rotated over, but then if you got beat baseline, you should know that, hey, my man's gone.
Right.
I gotta cover the next. I gotta cover the next guy. So, you didn't rotate. With your defender. I mean, with your offensive player as a defender, you didn't rotate. It was poorly execution. It was poor execution, man.
Now watch this play. My dude, what the hell happened?
Well, I mean, we can go over it. Again, not knowing your assignment, you go back. This is an inbound play.
All right. So we look at the inbound play.
It looks
now
like
is that Denny? Is that Denny that's actually standing there guarding the inbound pass? I think that's
Raul Neto. That's Neto.
That's Raul Neto. So he's okay. So it's Kemba Walker that's going to inbound the ball.
Yeah.
Now you can just tell by the three Wizards players that's there. It's Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and you see Bradleyville and Cartavius Caldwell. So KCP. But just by looking at Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell, they're too close together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go ahead and let it play.
They stack. They do that on purpose.
Well, yeah, they do that on purpose. But I'm gonna let this go ahead and play, and then we're just gonna see the missed assignment again on defense.
Okay. So Montrezl Harrell rotated like he was supposed to. In my opinion, that was more of a again, that was just poor defensive execution. Because in a sense, if you look, as Montrezl Harrell rotates down, Raul Neto should be there. How Neto should be there to make sure that the pass doesn't get there. And this is just poor transition defense. Here we go. Nick's pushing it again. And that's going to be pretty much the blueprint to beat us this season if we aren't able to stop these guys, up the court. We're getting back. We're not getting beat. We're getting back. We're just slow. We're slow and rotating.
We're slow and rotating, and then we're also kind of taking a lazy attitude far as getting out there and defending the three.
And there's Montrezl again playing, big body in the paint. Outlet to Neto. Good transition bucket. Yeah, good transition bucket. If you ask me, and you can go ahead and cancel out the highlights. I've seen the second half, and I know how we got beat. We can discuss that if you want, but here's my thing. This is what I think. I think that in order for us to be successful, we're going to need to push the ball and get the ball up the court in transition. Wes Unseld Jr. is going to find out very quickly that this team is not going to be able to defend man-to-man, one-on-one. Right now, I get it. We're a work in progress, but there is a cause for concern. You don't push the panic button after 2 preseason games because everyone's getting acclimated to the system. You got guys who are just learning their defensive assignments. But there is a cause for concern because I don't think that even if they do know what their assignments are, they're going to be able to stay in front of their man, or that they're going to be able to be a lockdown defender, or even communicate in a way where, hey, if I get beat baseline, you need to know that somebody, and if my man beats me and somebody else rotates over and he throws that pass up to the guard at the 3-point line, 9 times out of 10. If he passes the ball to the next man that's open, 9 times out of 10, we need to be there in rotation to defend that person and stop that person from shooting an open shot. We're getting there too slow. We're not going to be able to keep up with the pace of up-tempo style teams.
Right.
And you know how I know that to be a fact? Because we played that way. Mm-hmm. We played that way last season, and we knew which teams that could not keep up with the way we like to play the game. And so teams are going to get hip to that, when it comes down to us. Teams are going to be hip to the fact that, we're not in the right areas where we need to be defensively to be successful.
Well, I think part of that is you don't really have anybody in the starting lineup that can command or demand that type of accountability, that type of responsibility. And people are not going to like this, but, when John Wall was on here, we didn't have this problem. The team went as far as John Wall took. So John Wall was engaged in playing perimeter defense. It was contagious and everybody else played it. But you don't have that on this team right now. Who's going to be the one that's going to step up and say, look, this is what we're going to do. The coach said we need to play this type of style of basketball. This is what he's expecting from us. This is what we need to do. We're not seeing that. What we're seeing is a bunch of players out there, and I can't remember who said it, because somebody I think it was a tweet or it might have been either you that said it offline, where it's saying that Wes Unseld is coaching this team like a college basketball team. Well, you kind of see why. Because these are basic teachers.
I heard that on Believe Wizards.
Right. So it's on Matt Moderna's on his podcast, right? Mm-hmm. So but you have to
shout out to Matt Moderna.
Oh, definitely shout out to him. And I think it's not a bad philosophy for this team, because this is something that needs to be taught. You got veteran players on here who are not doing it. They're not telling their teammates, hey, this is what we need to do. We need to play the type of defense that the coach is telling us to do. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why I said in the last episode, you're going to see some players that's going to buy in and some that's not. So I think that change has to come within the players, because the accountability is on the players. It's not going to be on the coach. It's on the players.
Right. So, at the end of the day, we're not in panic mode just yet. It's only 2 preseason games. We know that this team has a long way to go. And, it's just going to be a learning experience all season long, especially when you have a bunch of guys that have not played this style, have not been held accountable on this level defensively, probably most of their careers, if not all of their careers. Wes Unseld Jr. is bringing just an entire different style to this team, and it's much needed here in Wizards land and Wizards culture because we've lacked that.
Right.
We've lacked that from a head coaching perspective. And, based off of what people are saying about his style, it's, in my opinion, it's much needed. You guys may feel like, the college coaching, perspective or culture that he's creating isn't the best thing. But in my opinion, this is a young team, and this team needs that. It needs that foundation to build off of. Okay.
Absolutely.
So what we didn't acknowledge in that game was Denny's first preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Denny.
Absolutely.
Based off of what you saw from Denny, were you impressed at all? Did you see anything different?
Yeah, what I saw from Denny is that he's happy to be back out there on the court. And I think he's going to take this opportunity where he can prove himself. One of the things he said was that he took some of the teachings from Westbrook and he's going to implement that in this upcoming season. And maybe the reason being for that is because he knows that the opportunity is going to be right there for him to do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Denny Abdia this upcoming season. I like to see him be a little bit of a point forward, where he can actually create plays for everybody else. We've seen him do it
Well, he was in
last
practice
season.
today. He was in practice today running the point forward.
Yeah, he's in practice. I just read a comment where he says he likes doing the shooting drills with Davies Bertans when they're out there shooting threes together. So that's something that's very positive. I like seeing that as well. So he looks like he's ready to have a breakout season. It sounds like that he has this confidence that he didn't have his rookie season from the previous head coach. He definitely has it now, where he has a coaching staff that's definitely in his corner, which is something that he needs. And I'm expecting the exact same thing from the Japanese jump man, as some people like to call him, or the Black Samurai, as people like to call him, and Rui Hachimura, that the confidence is there where he will be able to do what he needs to do instead of being told by a player that, oh, he just need to be aggressive. And, I told the coach I'm telling him this, but it's like he's not listening. What else you want me to do? How about you just ask to be traded? And then he can be aggressive.
Right. I mean,
Exactly.
look, there's going to be some. Well, we know that there's going to be some players held back on their progressions because of the fact that we're focused more so on building around Bradleyville, and Bradleyville right now is taking a lot of opportunity away from other guys because of how many shots he demands, how much attention he demands, so on and so forth. Here's my thing about Denny. I think that what we saw is just again, work in progress, a whip. We saw a whip, Denny's to me, he's like a sponge. And that's what's great about Denny, is the fact that he's not egotistical. He's not a guy who's arrogant, or he's taking the attitude like, hey, I should be that guy, even though we know that these guys feel that way. We know that they do. We know Rui feels that way. We know Denny feels that way. We know that when they got drafted here, they felt like when they got drafted, they were supposed to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
We know they feel that way, but they're not taking that attitude. And you just have to appreciate that as
Absolutely.
a fan. Think about it, man. Like, you're playing second, third, fourth fiddle, on a team where you have no other choice because of the attitude and the culture that's being created in Washington around one player. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough to play behind that, and keep a cool head. That's
Right.
why this whole thing with Rui, to me, it's more to it than we actually know.
Absolutely.
We'll never know the full extent. We'll never know the truth of the matter. We'll never know what mental health really means to Rui, but at the same time, we know that there's some things that were said over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We know that those things that were said about him came from the leader of the team to his former coach about his lack of aggressiveness.
Exactly.
And to me, that would bother me. That would bother me being, looked at as a third guy on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if I'm considered a second guy on the team.
Right.
Imagine if John Wall said that to Bradleyville's Florida Gators head coach about Bradleyville going into Bradleyville's third year, where John Wall told his head coach in Florida, hey, look, I'm telling Bradleyville to be more aggressive, but what else do you want me to do? Imagine what Beal would feel going into training camp his third year with the Wizards had John Wall did that.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine. So that's what I'm talking about, man. People don't factor these things in. People think that, we just talking out the side of our necks. These things actually happen, folks. This isn't things that I make up. This isn't Jose makes up. This actually happened. This was a conversation that happened. And sure, I could be making more out of it. But in my opinion, I personally wouldn't have appreciated him saying that to my former head coach about me, especially if, we're only months away from you seeing me. You could say that to me, to my face.
Right. I mean, one thing I saw was, and I sent it to you early today, and it was an article pertaining to Michael Jordan, what he said to Phil Jackson. I think this was like back, but this must have been during Phil Jackson's first year coaching the team. And it was after he scored 55 points. And he said to Phil Jackson, he said, you got to tell these guys they can't expect me to have this kind of performance every night. Next game, they need to get the game. They need to actually get it going, get the team going. Now, this is Michael Jordan, the GOAT. Okay, this is the GOAT saying this. I mean, that's what leadership means. He knew right off the top, hey, yes, I can score with the best of them. I can go out here and win the game by myself, but I need my teammates.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying this because this is going to lead me to the next topic. Bill says he wants to have an MVP-like season. So I'm going to pose this question to you, Decan, and I'll respond after you finish. What does an MVP season look like for Bradleyville?
Well, Bradleyville would almost have to be a perfect basketball player, from start of the season to the end of the season, offensively and defensively. He's taken his game not only to the offensive next level, but to the defensive next level.
Mm-hmm.
Leading the league in steals, being a lockdown defender on the perimeter, scoring 35 a game. The Wizards being third, fourth, maybe, third or fourth. I won't go no lower than that. Maybe third seed in the East at least. And, that's just him being in the conversation. If he's trying to win it, we got to run away with the East. Mm-hmm. The Wizards got to be, damn near 20 games above 500. This isn't just some, where, you're flying below the radar and then all of a sudden you go on a streak and, your team is just, doing things that, people didn't expect you to do. No, I'm talking about from the start of the season to the end of the season where you're the guy, you're the man, and people are recognizing you for everything you're doing throughout a span of an 82-game season. That's what would, in my opinion, get him to win the MVP, yet alone even be in the conversation. Being in the conversation is just, some of the things I talked about, you know, later, like maybe latter parts of the season, we go on a 10, 15 game win streak, in January, February or something like that, that's just putting him in the conversation. But if he's literally from start to finish, from October to what we talking about, March, April, you got to give me a complete 82 game season where we're just seeing nothing but great, outstanding basketball from you as an individual player and collectively bringing the team together as a leader.
Absolutely. Well, I say that your impact has to be felt even when you're not in a game. So if you're actually out and the team struggles while you're out, that will put you in that conversation. You have to do what Giannis did while he's a two-time MVP. Okay. You got to be on that level. You got to transition into elite status. He's not in elite status. He's a great scorer, but he's not in that plateau. You got to take your game to the next level where you literally make an impact on this team. To your point, the team got to be at least 20 to 25 games, about 500. You got to be an all-around basketball player. So not only are you scoring, but you're definitely in the conversation as far as defensive player. You're definitely going to be a perennial, at least going on the line of being an all NBA player again. But this time you're at least sitting somewhere between first or second. You really should be first team all NBA when you want to be an MVP. But the Wizards cannot be fighting for a play-in. The Wizards got to be a top 3 team in the East, period. Really, you need to be a top seed in the East.
Right. But
you got to be number one. I can't even sit there and say that. You got to be number one.
Right.
And again, you have to make an impact on this team when you're off the floor. So if you miss 5 or 10 games due to injury, the Wizards should be struggling during that time period until you return. But if the Wizards are actually able to play and sustain success while you're gone, that doesn't spell MVP. That means they could probably do well without you.
Well, you did say that his impact got to be felt even if he was out, right? I thought that's what you said.
Yeah, it has to be felt. Like, in other words, his
impact. If he's out, then we got to be
out, and the team got to be struggling. It can't be the team is moving, doing pretty good while he's out. The team really got to be struggling. Right. You know how the way it was when Giannis was out, the team struggled. The times when LeBron James played for Cleveland, when he was out, they struggled. If Mike was out, the Bulls struggled. So it has to be that way. And I'm going to say this because he said it himself. He said he believes we have enough. I think even if he misses some games, we've seen it. We saw it last season. I think we got enough players on this team that we can kind of sustain success, even if he's not. To be honest with you, we might play a different, better brand of basketball if he's not on the court. Mm-hmm. So an MVP-like season for him, I've already explained it. Do I think that should be his focus? I'm not going to say it shouldn't be his focus, but, I'm like, Bill, if that's what you want to do, just go out there and do it. Don't talk about that's what your goals are, because what that leads to is, a personal agenda. And I thought that's what this team is supposed to be not about anymore, with agendas and narratives and so forth. So don't make me look at you a different type of way that I'm already looking at you.
Right. So basically, at the end of the day, I think we both agree that Bradleyville's got to do, outside of the box, play like a monster from the start of the season to the end of the season, where the Wizards, are basically the, at the top of the East. Like we're
pretty much like world beaters.
Yeah, we're world beaters, right? Like, without a doubt, Bradleyville is the reason why we are world beaters. Like, not just because we have a great all-around team, but Bradleyville has to be the reason for that great all-around team as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we agree with that. So I was going to make that a 2-part question, but we're going to move on because we were already running behind anyway. So the good news is Rui's back. Mm-hmm. So with Rui being back, obviously, it's a great thing. I know in our last episode, we said, where's Rui? We didn't know where he was, but now we just got word today that He has landed back in DC. He will be joining the team, I think, today. And I think he'll be practicing with the team either tomorrow or after tomorrow's preseason game. How do you feel right now knowing Rui's back? Number one, how do you feel right now knowing Rui's back? And then number two, how do you think Wes Unseld Jr.'s style is going to implement Rui back?
Well, how do I feel Rui is back? Thank you. I'm glad he's back. I think he's the X factor. I really do. I think he's going to be the X factor of our season. People are saying it. And the reason why people are saying it because they want to see less of Kyle Kuzma due to his bad performances the first two preseason games. I don't know if a conversation was had between him and the coach or what have you. Interesting, they said he touched down in DC, so that tells me that he was out of the country. He probably was back in Japan. I think I said that last episode. But what I'm expecting, and I and you and I can both agree on this. I believe for the Wizards to succeed this season, he needs to be involved early. He should be the first option. I think everybody else needs to cater to him and not him catering to everybody else. We know that if you get Rui involved, this guy is an automatic bucket. He can score with the best, and we've seen him do it. You don't really have to make too many plays for him because he can kind of create his own damn plays. But the key to success for the Wizards is you got to get him involved early. Because people say, oh, well, I see him running up and down the court. Well, the reason why you see him running up and down the court a lot because he's not involved.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you used to tell me that about Marcin Gortat. You used to say, hey, that's the reason why you see him running up and down the court because they don't feed him early. So for Rui, you got to feed this guy. Make him feel involved. He's a wizard. Make him feel as such.
Mm-hmm.
So get him involved early. And I believe that we can be successful. But if you decide that you're going to kind of go away from him, and we've seen players do that last season, then you're going to see him running up and down the court and look disinterested. So when Beal says, I told him to be aggressive, well, he can be aggressive if you feed him the ball, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. You got to make him feel wanted on that court. When you're looking him away, why do you think he's going to sit there and try to be aggressive? Like, shoot, the dude he's not concerned about me, so I guess I'm just out here.
Right. And
build his confidence. That's going to also lead you to be an MVP too. You get him to play better. You got to get him involved.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if Beal is the reason why Rui turns into, an all-star and he complements Rui's game very well, without a doubt, we can discuss Bradleyville being in that conversation. But right now, it doesn't look like that, man. I'm not going to say anything until I see it. And that's the problem with the Wizards fan base is like, we get it. We haven't seen success from an individual player in a long time. We like when we say success, we're talking about an individual player winning, an award, like winning a scoring title, for example, right? So people were all on that last year. They were hoping that, Bradleyville won the scoring title. They were hoping Russell Westbrook would also be mentioned in along with the likes of other players on all, first, second, third team, all NBA. That's what we want to see, right? But at the same time, that's cool. Like, okay, they can do that. But what we really want to see is we want to see these players make other players on our teams better. And we want to see the overall outcome, come into fruition. We want to see everyone. Bradleyville says everybody eats. Well, if that's the case, then
we should be seeing that.
We should be seeing that. Let's start seeing everybody eating then. Because ever since you said that, the only person I've been seeing truthfully eating is you. You're the only one that's been eating.
Let me go back to Giannis again. The reason why Giannis is
I'm eating good too anyway.
But let me go back to Giannis real quick. So Giannis is an MVP. Okay. The Milwaukee Bucks won the championship. They acquired Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday took his game to the next level. Chris Middleton took his game to the next level. everybody on that team got much better. Now, Giannis being Giannis, he was able to put that team on his back, literally, and will them to that championship. But the people who were surrounding him also contribute to that. Now, we know if you take Giannis off that team, they struggle. They don't win ball games.
But you know what? Let me say this. The Bucks have a bunch of players that complement each other very well.
That's true, too.
Chris Middleton would not be who he is if it wasn't for Giannis.
Exactly.
And Giannis would not be the player he is without Chris Middleton.
Exactly.
Both of those guys know what each other's roles are. And so Chris Middleton is the offensive player that Giannis needs, and Giannis is the defensive player and the offensive player that Chris Middleton needs.
Exactly.
So and they both know that. Ever since they've been drafted there, they both recognize each other's games, and they both say to each other, hey, this guy is the reason why we get where we are. They say that about each other.
Exactly.
Why haven't I heard that when it comes down to Bradleyville or Rui or Bradleyville and any of his other teammates so far? Why haven't I heard that? You know, it's like, yeah, well, you know, I love what they bring to the table, but let's throw them out there in the fire and let's see what they can bring us. You know, that's the kind of statements you hear from Bradleyville, you know, as the leader of this team. You know, it's like, well, we don't really know what they can bring us until we see that they can do this and they can do that. Bradleyville, hey, look, man, we get it. You polished, bro. You 10 years in. Some of these guys are second, third year guys in. I mean, we get it. You polished. But it's going to take at least 4, 5, 6 years for these guys to really build up those expectations. You know? But along the way, hold on, let me finish this point. Along the way, it's your job to make sure that these guys feel confident enough to be on the same or be near the same level as you by you bringing that out in them. And that's not going to another player's head coach and saying that you've been telling them to be more aggressive. That's not it, bro. That's not how you do it. As a leader, that's not how you do it. I can't imagine Michael Jordan going to Scottie Pippen's head coach and saying that, oh, I've been telling Scottie to be more aggressive. What do you want me to do, coach? I don't know. What do you want me to do? I've been doing everything. No, Jordan told Scottie to get in the gym with me. Come work out with me. That's how Scottie got better. Mm-hmm. Where am I seeing that relationship and that cohesiveness? Where am I seeing that develop between Rui and Beal or Denny and Beal or anybody, any of his team? Where am I seeing that? Where am I seeing that? I'm not seeing that at all. All I'm seeing is right now is a replication every year in, year out, of Beal working on Beal. And then when it's time for Beal to get his, he gets his. But then when people ask him about his teammates, oh, well, you know, we'll see what happens when we throw them in the fire.
Okay. Well, that's a problem because we've been seeing that for far too long. So my thing is this: when is the organization going to finally say, you know what, enough is enough?
Well, they'll never get to that point because let me tell you something, man. I just made that point. We love glorifying individual. We love individualizing individual success. We love it. We glorify it because we're not used to it. You know, so whenever we see a guy scoring over 30 in a game consistently, you know, that's new territory for us. Oh, we're gonna glorify that before anything else, even before a law. Oh, well, at least Bill put up 45. You know, that's all that matters. Why are we talking about anything else? You know, that's what you know we do as an organization.
Right.
So
well, at the end of the day, man, it's all about team. So what I'm looking forward, as I said, for success, you got to get Rui Hachimura involved, and you got to get him involved early. We talked about Denny earlier when we were saying, as far as you know, what the expectations were for him. I said he looks confident, and it looks like he's ready to play. He's happy to be out there on the court. Well, I'm hoping that's exactly what we're going to see out of Rui Hachimura, but I know that confidence is going to come from the coaching staff. Let me just be clear. Wes Unseld said at the very beginning that it's on the players. His expectations, the players got to be out there talking to each other. He said, if we got to get involved, then we have a problem. Exactly. So Bradleyville says he's the leader. He wants to be the face of the franchise. You got to lift this team up to the next level. It's your responsibility to get Rui Hachimura involved. It's your responsibility to make him feel confident, to make him feel welcome, to make him feel wanted as a Wizard player. If you don't want him here, then we really have a problem. Then I'm expecting the organization to make a decision. What you're going to do. Now, a lot of fans are saying, oh, well, we need to move Denny. We need to move Rui Hachimura because these guys are just not it. How do you know that these guys are not it if you're not even giving them the opportunity to see if they are? Give them the opportunity. You say it all the time, DK. Hey, give these guys the opportunity the way we did with Wall and Beal. Why are we so quick to throw these guys away? We've thrown so many players away because we didn't give them the opportunity. So I think the patience is wearing thin on Bradleyville. But the Wizards put themselves in this position because it didn't have to be that way. You didn't have to sit there and cater to this guy. If this guy doesn't have the patience for these young players to develop, why the hell are you making us Wizards fans sit there and suffer with an impatient player who's ready to win a championship? He can say all damn day long he wants to do it here, but we know that's just nothing but smoke and mirrors. Make the decision for him. Yeah. Make it for him. Get him out of here.
David Aldridge said it best. You know, somebody has to be the bad guy in the situation. You know, Bill doesn't want to be the bad guy. The Wizards organization doesn't want to be the bad guy. You know, to me, you know, we know that there's only one outcome to this whole thing. And that's eventually moving on past him. It's what the Wizards organization is willing to do in the process. Because if you start sacrificing your young guys for this idea that we need to win now for the sake of Bradley Beal, then that's what you're doing at the time, in the time being. You're prolonging. Now you're setting us back another 5-10 years because you're sacrificing the future for the sake of the win now. And you know, obviously, nobody really wants that. You know, the truth is that, yes, we want to win. But the reality is that we may not win for another 3-4 years.
Right.
And so Bradley Beal says, and I quote, we have enough to get it done. That's what he said. So while we know the reality of it is that we don't have enough to get it done, Bradley Beal, that's the reality. We're going to take your word that you said we had enough. We're going to take your word for it that we have enough. Okay, well, we got enough then. Because what I'm expecting then at this point is that this team, as constructed, is ready to compete right now for an NBA championship. That's what you said. You said we have enough. That's what the expectation is. So if we fall, you know, below those expectations that you set, then you will be held accountable for that because you said yourself that we have enough. Okay. At this point, what other words can we go off of? We only have your word as a leader of this basketball team, as a fan. So again, we know the reality. K. Jose, you know the reality. Okay, but that's not Bill's reality. So guess what? K. Jose and I, along with some other fans, we're only going to go off of your word that we have enough to compete for a championship because you said that. So that's the expectation this season.
And it's the fan base, the Wizards Nation's job to hold him accountable for that. That's something that we don't do, but it's our responsibility to hold him accountable. It's not our responsibility to make up excuses of why he came up short. He said this. He said that we got enough. So you need to hold him accountable. So if the team comes up short, you know, and we know people are going to sit there and try to move the goalposts of why that happened. No. This is what he said. There is no goalpost moving whatsoever. He said this. Right. Hold his ass accountable.
So we'll definitely do that this season. And that concludes this episode. Is there anything else that you wanted to leave off for the Wizards, the diehard Wizards fans out there?
Well, one thing I want to say for the diehard Wizards fans, definitely like, share, and subscribe to this video. Drop a comment down there in the section, man. We'll respond back. Um, I think we're gonna do some giveaways, man. I'm really gonna do some giveaways. So probably might send out some State of the Wiz face masks and DC Hoopla face masks. So that's coming soon. Eventually we'll do a live stream, talk to some fans. But I'm gonna say this to all Wizards fans out there, to the true diehard Wizards fans. We are the voices of the unheard. This season is all about accountability. That's what it is. There's no DC above all. There's no DC rising. Accountability. That should be the hashtag this season.
And you know what? I'm gonna leave it on this one as well. I'm gonna tell the Wizards fan base and those subscribers who support State of the Wizards. Once again, thank you. In those giveaways, just be clear. Voices of the unheard, that's also you, because you also are the voice of the unheard. There's a lot of narratives that go around, but if you are a supporter of State of the Wiz, just know that we hear what you got to say. That's why we want you to drop that comment, because at the end of the day, you can differ from us. You don't have to think the same way that we do. Share your opinion on it. Get your voice out there. Let it be heard. Let it be heard. That's the whole point of Voices of the Unheard. Also, when the season starts, K. Jose and I, we're going to try to dedicate at least a day or two of the week to cover the games. So look out for that as well. Trust me, we just getting started with State of the Wiz, and we got plenty more to come throughout the season. So again, thank you guys. Can't thank you guys enough. We'll see you guys on the next episode 10. And I'm signing off. This is D-Can, along with my man K. Jose. Y'all have a good night.